Kombat crew! Welcome to 10 years,
10 years
of us making Mortal Kombat
Mortal Kombat!
Yes!
Yes, for us, BizarrelyFunny is the channel name.
Right.
Our channel name is BizarrelyFunny. It's the weirdest word that had no other numbers or things that we came up with and decided on. We didn't do MK first.
Yeah, we didn't do MK first, but let's tell them what the first date is first of this Mortal Kombat video game flaws. Our first Mortal Kombat video came out on the 31st of March.
Okay, stop! Alright, why do you have to cannonball me every single time the round starts? Could you maybe mix it up by putting maybe a fly kick in there or something? Or perhaps maybe an eye laser. You do that too.
We're now past the 10 years, but before that, in October, our first month, we created Resident Evil 2 video game flaws.
That's our first flaws video game that we covered, and we were just going like video games that we knew a lot about or enjoyed, and we're gonna kind of poke fun at what we liked. And
I'm a big Resident Evil fan,
for Res 2.
We did 2, and our goal was to try and throw in as many funny little things as we can that kind of embody what Resident Evil 2 is. And we tried to cut it down as short as we could, so it was only 4 minutes long at that point.
And at that point in time, you wanted clicks. So if it exceeded 4 minutes in length, people wouldn't click it, and it would hurt your views. So they told you to keep it around 4 or less.
Which is why we did later on the peanut butter and jelly sandwich one ended up so short. You really making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich right now?
Yeah? You got a problem with that?
It was a test of that theory. A minute-long skit. But we wanted to make this video so that we could explain to you guys how we started making Mortal Kombat videos, what went into the thought behind it, the process, the costuming. Originally, when we first filmed this video game flaws video, we had one costume each, and we color swapped them for the other characters. So when you see Rain or any of those other characters like Reptile, it's the same outfit for Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
We went to a Goodwill and found some materials, and the only materials they had were a blue one and a red one. So we had Ermac and we had Sub-Zero, and we agreed on who was going to do all of the ninja rolls and who was going to do all of the face rolls.
Yep.
So he had all the faces and I had all the ninjas.
Well, at least I look different.
I'm not following you.
Which is why he played Sub-Zero.
Which is why I am Sub-Zero. I am...
Behind. When we made that Mortal Kombat video, we weren't playing Mortal Kombat versus DC or anything like that. It was based on our love of the original Mortal Kombat games. What you guys don't know, or some of you do actually, is that we grew up playing Mortal Kombat together. During the summers, he would come over, because he was my cousin, and spend the summer, and we'd play Mortal Kombat together. We'd be doing kip-ups in the front yard, trying all the different moves.
Very hard to learn our moves and outside, and we kind of embodied the games in a lot of ways in a fantasy aspect. And who's the kid that didn't want to be a ninja? Huh?
Right.
Who?
And we were also in love with Mortal Kombat because we loved Jackie Chan and martial arts films, and it had a lot of that built right into it.
That's my dude. He's my guy. Yeah, martial arts, free running before it was free running, like parkour, running around in the street and jumping off roofs and stuff like that. That's what we did.
Yeah, he got me into that stuff. I remember, since I'm 3.5 years younger than he is, to date us a little bit, you would always make me work out in ways that were painful. Kicking trees and stuff.
Yeah.
I thought you were crazy.
It's a bone hardening thing. You gotta get denser bones so you don't fall apart when you hit things.
So part of why we do those fights and stuff is because when we were younger, we did train like that. We did wrestling matches. We did a lot of training on pads, doing judo throws, putting a couch cushion down, and we had it on.
Yeah, getting used to falling. You have to fall first before you can jump in most martial arts and stuff like that. So we have to do the ground up work. You do the work. You know how to do it the right way, and you know when you did it the wrong way, several times. those things happen. So you make all your mistakes, you iron out all your wrinkles, and then you have like who you are and how to do things safely in the best way. And that's why we don't use mats. We don't use pads. We do pull out of potatoes. And you hit each other a little bit.
Not recommended. Do not try at home.
It's a little bit like Jackie Chan in his career. I want to say Jackie Chan a lot because he's a good guy. He's like a legend. But what he used to do in his early films was put himself in horrible positions on screen and show people that he was suffering for them.
He has broken so many damn bones.
Do a stunt where he didn't feel an impact or enough pain or enough, he wouldn't think the shot was good, and he would just keep going back and doing it. And that's kind of how we kind of got it in our heads. If we wanted to do something, it would have to hurt a little bit, at least, for us to feel satisfied that it was a good angle, a good shot, a good take.
So let's go back to that first video, though. So let's kind of unpack it for them. So when we did that, after we did the Resident Evil one, you were the one who decided we should do Mortal Kombat next. When we were doing that video together, we talked to each other about how we might want to do videos in the future. We were having so much fun with it that we went, let's turn this into a skit show.
Yeah, it's just sketches. Because at first we were doing sketches, but we couldn't really figure out what funny meant. We were trying to figure out what was our angle. Everybody's got their avenue of what people want to see them do or continue doing. And when we launched Video Game Flaws Mortal Kombat, it got the biggest surge of hype. I don't know why. I still to this day have no idea why.
I know some details. Dashi helped with that video. Dashi and others helped promote that video when it came out. And
Dashi XP helped the ball rolling. And if you don't know who Dashi is...
BizarrelyFunny, what's good, my boys? Damn, I missed y'all.
Oh, in my spare time, I produce...
Shout out to my boys, BizarrelyFunny. I see y'all, and I like that y'all keep doing the Mortal Kombat videos. I got a new one coming up soon-ish.
Well, you do. You do know who
You
Dashi
got to.
is.
You have to. You have to go to subscribe to him right now if you don't.
Yes, you
Dashi
do.
XP or Dashi Games. Go see him.
Dashi's
right
an old
now.
friend, and we love him dearly. And your
Started out
daughter
around the
even
same time
watches
we
him
did.
all the time. So that's an important kind of getting it generation-wise. So yeah, going back to that though, I remember we were talking to each other while we were filming it, and we were kind of coming up with, hey, we should turn this into something. We should, think about what about them being roommates. And then
a mundane thing. We went with the route of what if Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and the entire cast was in one house.
Right.
And they had to live and coexist in this kind of modern society that we live in as humans. And it's actually kind of, it's an easy concept. It's an easy concept, and it's fun to play with. There's a lot of material you can grab from it.
You have all sorts of different moves, different things that everybody does. You can come up with all sorts of different storylines.
But the difference is the characters you bring into the characters. That's what's special about, but for me and probably you,
right.
What we're doing here. You have a joke, you have a what they do, and then you get how they do it, or who they are, who we are as the characters on the screen. And at first for me to do the characters, to make them as real as possible was to take an emotion or a trait that I currently had and just blow it to 10.
I will kill everyone in the world. Everybody will die.
And make it very linear for those characters. Yeah, me, I'm the Toad. I'm the Toad in Mario Kart. I'm the most well balanced. I have basically everybody, but it's a more convenient package. A Reptile is shy.
Here we go back.
Shao Kahn's me when I'm the boss at work.
You're gonna answer the door for us.
No, I
No,
please.
Because I am. Raiden is egotistical. He's a god. He's in charge. You do what he says. His way or the highway kind of deal.
Did you hear me when I said not to open the door and let anyone in the house?
Lazy is Ermac. He just doesn't want to lift a finger. He just does everything, teleport, levitation, stuff like that.
Burn it! Please!
should explain to the audience, since you're on this topic, what made you decide Ermac should be lazy? What about Ermac made you think that's where he should be?
It's what about him? What about him? He's got 1,000,000,001 different souls in his head. He's constantly got a headache, and he just wants to be done with it. And he doesn't move. He's got telekinesis and all the power in the world to just do things from his chair.
Yeah.
And that's basically where I had him.
So he's so OP, he's bored of life.
Yeah. And thinking of contrasting characters and stuff, like, you want to be like, either you're the goof, or the other person's straight. Is the straight and serious, the rational, and for a lot of the characters on my list, I have the rational sides being like Noob, being, the Raiden, being those kind of characters that force me to be the audience visual. It's like, this is what you should be doing. You're doing something crazy, and then you have the Barakas.
Noob, buddy. My name is Noob.
And the reptiles and the people like that are irrational and that are overpowering silly. And you have to have
you typically want to have that balance, because the further the contrast, usually the more funny the silly is, because of how serious Raiden or somebody else is.
I left you in a shoebox for a reason. Hey.
So we both have characters, and we decided on that because of that. Because we're only two people, we decided you get some silly ones, I get some silly ones. And we make sure that we have enough of those that we can always put two together.
It's always 1-to-1. We usually come up with a character at a time, or 2 characters at a time. When we were doing it in the beginning, we had a list with the characters, and it's like, who are you? Who am I? Who are you and who am I? Like, we can come back and forth. Who would make the best parallel? I couldn't be both
Sub-Zero and Scorpion
anymore, because they have to be on screen at the same time a lot.
I mean, you could do that, but the problem, of course, is that if you just keep turning angles like that as one person, you're never going to get it to flow right. It's never going to have the same real conversation to it. You're going to have to do cloning out the ass for that to be fun and be a post. So I like what you were saying there, because I think about Rain. Early on, my Rain was just kind of like, oh, well, I'm a sarcastic little asshole.
Oh, right, yes. You're the most important character in any game that ever existed. This is true, John.
I'm glad we're in agreement with you.
Yes, sarcasm.
And that didn't really, in my opinion, work in the long term. So I started changing him to just being a kind of like death metal.
I am Rain! I'm not gonna take an umbrella!
He's just, all the time.
Yeah, he's that.
And why did I do that? I chose that because I tried to do the MKX voice. I could not do the I'm Rain, son of August. It's weird. It's difficult.
That guy's voice, I gotta figure out. I can't figure out what his voice actor was, but they should have put that actor is just. I love that guy's voice.
I do too.
They don't use him
I could do
enough.
that voice, but I can't. So I decided, what's the second best thing to that? Somebody screaming and being intense, right? He's still intense. We know Rain's main thing is that he's intense. He's just too intense.
Yeah,
so you need to make him over the top on that. And I know it bothers some people's ears, and I'm going to keep working on it. But that's the thing about this, is as time has went on, we've realized that there are certain aspects of characters that need to improve. It's not just static. Even though it might seem like maybe with Scorpion and Sub-Zero, we're not going as far, we're kind of more in a static place with those characters. I'm still working on my Kano Australian accent. I still haven't gotten it down, and I still want to get it down.
Characters are continually evolving. They continually grow like people do.
Based on you guys, too, though. So you guys give your feedback, you tell us what you like and you don't like, and that shifts how we think about things and what we focus on. So please keep those comments coming. We were just kind of having a harder time at first when we introduced all those characters, separating them, but as we introduced more and more characters, the characters themselves made it to where we could go further. In my opinion, that's what happened for me anyway. Since I practiced Kano, practiced Baraka, I could do more high-pitched voices. I could do more throaty voices. And that's come through time with practicing all of this stuff. And only since then have I been able to realize that I can separate Freddy Krueger from Sub-Zero. I can separate Sub-Zero from Rain. And, you know, the kind of characters that start sounding a little bit too much like each other.
Yeah, it's very similar voice inflections to a lot of our characters, and speech patterns and accents and things like that. You kind of got to add to separate them. You'll blur the lines sometimes. You'll mess it up if you don't have them practiced enough. And the one-off characters that you're trying to experiment with and kind of go with are the worst ones at first because you don't have them practiced. You always default back to a voice you currently know or know that feels right, feels good. Some voices hurt.
Yeah.
They hurt to do. And so you're not in the right place to do them properly.
And on top of that, we're doing like 8-9 hours in a day, you know, so we've worn our voices out for some characters.
So what voice can you do
others.
And not have it be completely gone at the end of 8 hours?
So you're strategizing to some degree in your head. You're like, I don't want to go too screamy. This is only hour 2. I still have to have my throat last for another 6 hours after this.
And that also changes how voices are delivered because of our vocal codes. Because like me, for example, all of my ninja voices, every single one was based on, and people have called me out on this before, the Ask a Ninja character.
What I am ninja, he's ninja, she is ninja too. I am ninja, we are ninja, but I believe that you are ninja too.
Randy asks a ninja. How do you kill a ninja? Whoa, whoa, whoa! Why all the hostility? What did a ninja ever do to you? Oh, right. Personally, I think it's a little rude to ask someone how to kill them. I've said it. Randy is rude. Rude Randy. Rude Andy. I have trained hard so that I never have to ask anyone how to kill them. And I think, on some level, they appreciate that. I don't really know because of the dead thing.
Ask a Ninja's voice was hilarious to me.
Yeah.
I watched him all the time. And I just kind of gave that voice to every single ninja I played.
What? What the hell does that say?
And then after that, they kind of separated from each other.
So that is an important point that you're adding, though. So it's not just emotion that you want if you're coming up with a character, but you also want to figure out what the voice is on channeling that emotion as well. You know, because the Ask a Ninja guy can't be all these different emotions, because it only works for some of them. So you have to figure out, you have to think about it. Like for Shinnok, for me, improving Shinnok meant I need to think about villain. Old school villain. How do I get old school villain more into that voice?
Which his voice, your voice, is amazing as Shinnok right now.
Well, thank you.
But when we started, the first video that Shinnok was in was Shinnok versus Raiden out in the wilderness, in the middle of nowhere, the dried up lake bed. His voice was so bad. As Shinnok, I had to dub mine in his place in some places.
Well, fuck you.
But now it's so good, I can't do what he's doing.
Oh, thank you.
There's no way.
I appreciate that. We have different spots. You have different spots with your personality and with your voice than I do.
Yeah, I can't do Sub-Zero. There's no way. I can't even do an impression.
I can't do his new one all that well. Steve Bloom is really good at that, but I don't think he can scream with that voice.
It's the projection. You can't go over a certain amount of volume.
Which is part of why I can't do it, guys.
You have to scream.
Okay, so back to what we were saying, though. Yeah, you want to think about that emotion, but add to that what things you already are familiar with that are like that. So in Shinnok's case, the natural conclusion was he's a villain, old school villain. Old school villains sound like, yeah, see, I'm gonna kill ya, and then I'm going
gangster
to
from the
rip out your
30s.
spine.
Yeah, 30s movie.
So you take that voice and you go, where can I hear that? Who does that character? And then you go, which ones do I identify with? Which villains do I think are badass that sound like what I'm trying to channel? You listen to a lot of that, you practice it, and you get that emotion into it too.
For me, it is the personality thing. It is trying to, well, you do the source material for what is okay and what's not.
Yeah, like if you have a Scorpion voice, you know, you've heard other Scorpion voices over the course of time. You know there are lines that you might not want to go too far outside of.
Sometimes the point of being funny with it is to go the opposite way.
Baraka.
With Baraka.
Right.
And a lot of people ask, why does Baraka sound so silly? It's because it's the funniest way to make him sound versus
Well, also,
what
let
he
me add
actually
to that.
sounds
When
like.
I played MK2, you know, when I played the old Mortal Kombat games, he kind of walked around kind of like this. He just seemed like an oddball that kills people. Is how I interpreted Baraka. That's how I thought of him
before
as a
you
kid.
even hear him speak, you have a voice in your head for him to sound like.
Right.
And that was the voice. And we put this on Goodwill again, Halloween mask of something. That was like, this
crazy.
is Baraka. And we put it on his face, and that voice came out of him, and I go, that's hilarious!
Yay! High five! Oh, yes! Oh, that's so much fun!
We got to use that with somebody else, Noob. We put Noob in there to give that dynamic contrast.
But you're supposed to put the trash with the trash can. See that can right there?
Yeah.
That's supposed to go with the trash.
I'll go with the trash.
Yeah, so you put the... Yeah.
Not as bad as Smoke, because Smoke is the...
I'm just thrilled to be in your presence.
He's the worst as like emotional.
Yeah, a lot of our older like costumes and stuff we did get from Goodwill because we got that material from Goodwill. We got the Baraka mask, which was very lucky. Some others, your Shao Kahn mask, your original Shao Kahn mask, didn't you get that from Goodwill too?
Yes, it was a modified Halloween mask for his. It was a Goodwill. We had like a Salvation Army, a Goodwill over there, like very, very close by. So we did all the thrifty stuff that way. And he was just basically, I cut out the lower jaw of his skull mask, pulled it apart, and then ripped the material in half, and then it became the crown skull headpiece.
If you go to Goodwill around Halloween time, you will find stuff that you might be able to use for Mortal Kombat. That's what happened for us back in the day. So let's move on to a different video. Let's go to Sub-Zero's room. How about that? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Don't you love the voices here? So a tail end of the MK flaws is the editing height, like where I decided to just pour a bunch of time into the life bars and all these things, and then I was like, I've done green screening before. Let's put us in environments that make sense for each character to be in. Scorpion being in a fiery room and Sub-Zero being in an ice room, tailored for him, is such a hard key.
Chilling with Sub-Zero.
Because that's a green blanket behind us. Not a key screen, not a green screen. It is a very dark blanket of green, and also got from Goodwill. So
and everything we do, just so you guys know, almost everything we do is improvised. Back then, that's how we started. We had like a loose script, like the things we want to happen in a script, but we would improvise everything. The lines would just not be written out at all. Keeps you on your toes. It allows us to develop more, I feel like, than if we were staying on script. Because that is helpful for some things, like if you do need to write on script, but a lot of times if we're doing a live stream or something, we need to be able to make a joke on the fly. And that helped us a lot with that.
It does.
I suggest if you have a friend and you want to do videos like this, do a lot of improv together. It will really help you a lot.
Yeah, loose script, because you can't write for another person. If I write a whole script out, I leave words or phrases out that he might say, but he's going to rewrite all those parts.
Yeah.
On the spot, because of what Sub-Zero would say. He's Sub-Zero, I'm not.
Yeah, oftentimes
if he's
back
writing
in the
for
day, I
me,
would
he's
try
going
a
to let me
line
know.
that he would want me to say, but it just wouldn't come out the right way because it wasn't meant for me, you know? So
Maybe
you develop over
so.
time what works and what doesn't work. And that just kind of evolves.
This is also the first video we tried to market to an MK audience. And it's so early that they hated us.
Oh, you're talking about those forum comments, huh? Ooh.
Yeah, they hated us so bad because it's Mortal Kombat is by design supposed to be over the top and silly, and it's been lost over the years but that's what we find in it. It's just so good because of it's off the walls, it's serious, it's not, it's so easy to play with it, but so many of the fans were just, no! It must be serious and violent, and only these things. I hate you.
And
You're
that's
not
part
funny.
of why I
Kill
don't
yourself.
like being serious. It's lame.
It's
You know,
very
there's
one-dimensional.
too many serious people in the Mortal Kombat community. We need more people that are old school of the fun. I loved the friendships. I loved the babalities. I loved the fact you turn into a penguin. I mean,
Animalities, yeah. Animalities, everything. There's just stacking things on things. The crypt having fan art, having conceptual things, having videos. Cooking with Scorpion was actually included in the game.
That's true.
Through stuff. It's like cohesion with people.
And definitely what was silly about the PS2 era, all the mini games, Mortal Kombat, and all that kind of stuff was really ridiculous. So I'm really happy about
Mortal
that.
Kombat should be a thing. It should be by itself as a game. Guys, make it. Please. NetherRealm.
So, despite the fact that there were some people hating on it, both of those videos were starting out successfully, so we continued on with Scorpion Makes a Snack.
That's impossible. I never bleed. I'm made of ice.
Oh, yeah? What do you call that, snowflakes?
Yeah, the one that got flagged for me flicking him in the forehead in our infancy. Our infancy as a YouTube channel, YouTube didn't really know what it was doing. And they still kind of don't. There's this rocky back and forth that happens with what's okay, what's not, what ad revenue wants to support, what they don't.
And we've just recently become a partner, too.
So we did this. There's no real swearing in it. There's nothing. I make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I use a blood effect when I flick him in the head to indicate that there's a lot of blood in Mortal Kombat for no reason.
Yeah.
And
over-exaggerated.
I'm not going to do the windows. Screw your windows. I'm not doing anything. And it got taken down immediately. It's double standard a lot of the times we were finding. We were finding out, like a lot of other people that were been doing YouTube for a little bit, noticed this double standard.
Well, it should be expected.
So the immediate video after that was YouTube censorship.
Holy shit! You're gonna die, whore! Whoa!
Whoa, no!
What was that? What? I was just going with the flow of the moment. You didn't like it?
No!
Oh,
You cannot swear in any scene at any time, ever. YouTube will say it's not family appropriate.
so why can't you just bleep out the swears? A lot of popular YouTubers do it.
Yeah! Popular ones! But not only will I have to bleep it, I'll have to blur out your whole face and replace the swear word with a different word that sounds completely ridiculous. Because the bleep implies that there's a swear there. And what's with the music? Are you stupid?
And it's still relevant now.
It still is.
It's still the same situation. They still censor you. If you're anything close to Mortal Kombat or, just violent games will automatically make you treated like you're a nasty person.
Even though they're saying, video game is simulated violence and it's not really counting anymore, they'll still do it sometimes.
Not as much. They won't do it as much anymore. So thankfully it's gotten better. But
yeah.
So we did the ad censorship and we followed up with Money Crunch, which was our first interactive.
Yeah. We wanted to introduce the interactive that everybody was doing at the time, like Shane Dawson, Mystery Guitar Man. They were doing these things that allowed you to get more clicks through video navigation and picking your own story and how to finish the video. And so we were like, okay, we'll do that. I guess we did the money crunch of how to get the rent money to pay the mortgage.
And a lot of characters were introduced in that video. We have Smoke, Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, and Ermac. And so that video was also successful. So we started to realize at that point, while we were still doing, real life skits, which is what we started with, that none of those were doing all that well anymore, comparatively. The Mortal Kombat ones were doing a hell of a lot better. So that precluded to Scorpion's first Halloween. One of people's favorite videos even now.
Kicked a kid in the face again, didn't I?
Yeah, and if you gave him candy, you wouldn't need to.
Why would I give him candy?
It's just conceptually hilarious to me when we first writing that thing. It was like, yeah, what if Scorpion doesn't know what the heck it is?
Yeah.
What if he doesn't know what it is and he just thinks that people are coming invading the house and they're small? He doesn't even know what a child is. At first, he was like I, as a concept character, was so brainwashed and so brain damaged by Quan Chi's influence that I didn't know anything. I was like a Homer Simpson.
Yep.
Okay, I put the hot bucket in, I closed the door, and I lit it on fire.
You don't see the problem with that?
The instructions clearly said put on high. It was as high as I could get it.
I was like, beat to death. I don't know what kids are. I don't know what holidays are. I don't know time, math, anything. And so So Sub-Zero was brains, I was brawn of the entire situation, dynamic all the time. But then we kind of reversed that over time, as you'll notice, when Mortal Kombat X came out, and I got the humanity back, and I started talking like, you know, a master again.
Yeah, you became smart all of a sudden. But yeah, that video was one of the most fun to make, for sure. And we got a huge response, especially after the kick to the kid in the face.
Oh my god, it's an midget! Sub-Zero!
You know, that particular part is everybody's favorite by far. And
when I kick people in the face, it's a very, very, very good idea. It's a very good thing. Like even like Oblivion, when I kick.
It always works out, yeah.
The annoying fan in the face. That was the best part of that video too.
Well, you know, I just thought of one I could be mean about. There was a time that I got kicked in the face and it wasn't a good idea.
Oh my god. Oh my.
No.
Oh, mic drop. Okay.
Mic drop.
So we have an unlikely Santa Claus was our last one that we did in 2010. And that one kind of went off of the same concept that you had never experienced Christmas before, too.
Scorpion, wait!
You know, that fat man had a pretty good idea wearing all that blood. You couldn't see the blood when I was stabbing him.
Yeah, all the holidays were just a new thing to me, and this was the start of the tradition to do one every Halloween and Christmas. Was basically just the learning from the last time and applying it to the next video. And we had a Santa hat, and that was it. We didn't have a costume, we didn't have nothing. We had a Santa hat and a red piece of material that we just balled up and made it look like a bag.
And then you put together a storybook ending that was awesome, actually. I thought that was great the way it rhymed.
The rhyme thing I actually did a callback to in a recent, I would say 2 Christmases ago. Yeah. It was a callback to this one, our first Christmas episode, when I did that. To kind of have this ending where it's like a carol, like an old school story movie.
So it took us a while after this. This is when he moved.
Ryan and I no longer live in the same state. He still lives in Portland, Oregon. I now live Sumner, Washington.
And that's where we had a huge gap, you know? So we didn't have any Mortal Kombat videos come out in 2011. He was 3 hours away from me, and we were still figuring out how to make that work with the long distance. It's still been trouble, you know? It's still always been rough.
Yeah, the first Q&A video we did was I liked Q&A videos at the time. I watched them all the time with YouTubers that responded to people, that actually got more interactive with them, and the fans felt more a part of the video happening. So we just went with a whole bunch of questions that were themed for specifically Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and then just had some other characters that had some questions for them specifically, and so we would just transition to them. And I had this whole layout of a world that we could go to their places into. Get away from it some, because it's so time consuming to do all that. And at the time I had more free time to be able to do it. Now I have less. So those projects always live in this high place with what I've accomplished. It always feels more special to release something that you spend a lot of time on and that you've done every little aspect. I can take a lot of time off you just to get the video to be releasable. Because sometimes you can't even see what it looks like. A lot of the times in those other ones, you can't see it until the very end. There goes the day, and then you see it, and you see something wrong, and you go, oh, and you go back in and work an hour, and then you go, okay, what about now? And you wait 24 hours, and then it goes again, and you go, oh, I have to change this. And eventually you just say, okay. It's not perfect, but I will release that. Yeah. That's how it gets to it sometimes. A lot of people ask, they say, hey, we introduce more characters, well, we want to do it, but at the same time, it is kind of still a special thing that we are the only two.
Yeah,
I don't want
that and the fact, since we live far away from each other, it's hard to coordinate with a third person. To get a third person in their schedule to work with the fact that there's a very small window in the 3-hour drive, it also adds a lot of a problem to that, you know. We will be bringing in females, we will be bringing in Jax, and maybe Liu Kang and stuff too, because we know we need to have some other people. We just want somebody who's funny, that can fight to a degree, and really loves Mortal Kombat, you know? And I am also thinking about that regularly. Like, it's hard sometimes, even for us after 10 years, it's hard for me to see comments that say, you know, I hate your Sub-Zero, or Wrecking with that regular.
Why do you hate me? What did I do?
It's something that kind of, it's even hard now to a degree if you get a lot of criticism come in because your character didn't do well during this scene or whatever. But one thing that we always try and understand with that is there's a lot of different people with a lot of different opinions that love a lot of different time periods of Mortal Kombat and love this particular version of this character, but not this one. And that's such a common thing that I understand. People have their own favorites, and they're going to express that they don't think that this is like their favorite. But some people, if we brought them in, they wouldn't be able to take that level of criticism.
But moving on, anyway, we're going to go to the first time we actually ever did what I really wanted to do, the fight. So the first sequence of steps that went into fighting was the envelope.
What do you think you're doing? Ugh, don't even try it. Get over here.
That became like a series of steps. And the appreciation for how long it takes to film a fight versus how long a fight isn't enough.
Yeah.
You guys gotta understand that it takes all day to shoot like 60 seconds of a series of shots of fighting, angles, changes, da. And so that was so much fun to do. We just added the Shao Kahn birthday at the end to kind of give it some length, because that's where it's kind of going to this point of now it's watch time. Now it's starting to get to where you can have longer videos and it won't affect you negatively. And we always want to do long ones. We're tired of cutting them down to like a minute and a half. Doesn't feel worth it.
Especially when you want to throw a bunch of characters in that are people's favorites. It takes a while. It's going to take an extended
And so based
video.
on how that turned out,
Reptile
was also kind of playing off of how we shot the portal versus gravity gun. And so we took that concept, put the envelope in, and go, okay, this is how we should do the fight for when MK9 comes.
Stop fooling around. This is serious.
I am being serious.
I remember one of our major problems, if you guys see the bloopers, is the straps falling off while we're fighting.
I cannot keep this up for the life of me.
Everything had to be kind of manually repaired at and on each take when they would fail.
Yep. And everything was just improvised. When we do fights, we don't have storyboards or anything.
The car containing most of the gear was parked 2 blocks down from where. So every time that we had something go wrong or have to charge batteries or change things, we have to go all the way back to the vehicle and come back again, especially or take a trip.
We were lucky we had some help on that one. We had 2 camera people for that. One camera at the time. So it helped with some arms. Anyway, back to this fight. What made you want to do that fight? Because I remember you were more behind the push for us to do a fight at that point.
I wanted with my love of martial arts film and choreography and stuff like that, I just wanted to put an entire video together only based on that thing. And I knew it would be good. I knew everybody wanted to see it. Who doesn't? That's
one thing I noticed about you at the time is that you keep a memory in your head of the scene, how it looked. And you connect that to the other memories you have. And that tells you whether or not the shot was the right way. I noticed that at that point in time. If an arm goes like this, but in the other shot, the arm goes like this, he's going to know that shot wasn't the one to go with, and this one connects to the next one. And your ability to remember details like that, like exactly where we were standing, and how to connect that to the different angles, is the only reason that we could improvise at that point. Kind of putting it all together over time. Like, okay, you hit me with the fire. Now I'm going to shoot up, and then the ice is going to drop, and I'm going to be cooled down. Those types of things, we could only improvise like that because you had the memory to be able to connect the scenes together. Otherwise, it would have been a mess if things didn't look enough like they should have connected.
Yeah, I really like that video in particular. It's short. It's not.
It's funny too.
I would have gotten rid of the. I would have done the beginning very different because it's not very like me jumping through the trees. I hate that. I hate it when I look at it. The ending when I'm falling, I would have done that different too. But that's how we've grown. But the actual sequences of where we are, what we're doing, I really like how that turned out. And that I kept wanting to do it. Like, it's just in my head. I keep wanting to do that again, so I'd find excuses to do it in other videos.
Yeah, so the MKX fight was intended to be a little bit more serious, as opposed to this one being more silly.
Yeah, our market was going to be a little bit bigger of a hit if we treated it like the source material more. So I was like, we'll just act like we're not silly. I don't know if that's going to work, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to just do a fight, and it's going to look like a reason we're fighting, and that's it. It was simplified, one-dimensional, and it was messy.
That fight was a mess because we only had 6 hours because the MKX costumes didn't come in until Saturday. And Saturday is the long day we get. And we sometimes have Sunday, which goes to about 6 p.m. So noon to 6 is all we had with no cameraman.
And he had to catch a train at 6:30 or something like that. So he had to catch a train. So we're filming every single thing as fast as we can. I had contacts, by the way, but I couldn't put them in my eyes. We were going so fast. I dropped the contacts into the foliage in the woods, and then tried to rinse them off and put them in my eye. That wasn't happening. So I was like, okay, just go. So it's 1 step, 2 steps, until we were finally finished. We get everything packed up. Run back.
We ran with the stuff in our hands.
Running back, get in the car, drive not as fast as we can because that's illegal, but pretty fast, back to where the train station is, hit a piece of metal, and have both tires on the side of the car go flat, and you missed the train.
Yeah. I mean, I could have made the train, but he had a flat tire, and I didn't want to leave him on the side of the road. I could have ran there. It was a block away at that point. But, this has just been kind of us trying to explain the 10 years and how we've kind of built this all together. Is there anything we're leaving out that's a really important detail? Maybe we should go into explaining reactions and Let's Plays and where those kind of came out of. Because originally, Let's Plays were being done on non-Mortal Kombat games, indie games, because at the time we were afraid they would get copyright flagged. And then we were afraid that WB would just take our content down. So we started with Skyrim and other stuff. Goat Simulator.
What are we doing?
I guess we're playing Goat Simulator.
What is it like to be a goat?
And we
Goat
moved
Simulator.
over
We were doing
to
the Let's Plays. The reason why, if we're going to do this. The reason why we had started just cranking videos. We had gone from like a 2-week apart format to when a video was released to every other day or 3 times a week or twice, 2 videos a week, and we kept doing that. And part of the reason why was because Let's Go to Christmas. Released on December 23rd, 2016. We did a video for Christmas of that year for Mad Santa Claus. It was the first time Mad Santa was introduced, and after the filming of this video, I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. my wife made me go in when she saw me and went, "You have to go to the doctor right now." I was in denial. If this is a thing. If you're a male, you have to get yourself checked out. If you feel anything weird going on with your testicles, that is a change, and it may get worse or it may be weird or be sensitive, more sensitive than usual in certain spots, then that's a red flag, and I ignored it for a long time. I'm on the roof as Aaron Black doing kip-ups and doing the gunplay and everything like that in these pants. I am in pain. I am in very uncomfortable. And so post-filming this, my wife convinced me to go to the doctor, went there, the doctor took the one look at it and went, "You have cancer. That's it. That's what this is. This ultrasound looks like the devil." And it did. It looked like the face of a demon. And so prep for surgery, very quick, like the next week, I had abdominal surgery to have it removed. And in the following 2 months, I'm recovering from that surgery that happened. And I couldn't do anything. I was on Vicodin, a painkiller. I hate drugs. I hate them. So as soon as I felt like I could get off of it, I stopped it. I didn't like how I feel. And I was going kind of nuts, just cooped up. And Ryan, Sub-Zero,
Yeah,
Ryan.
okay. Since we're taking the mask off.
My cousin, he came up as soon as he heard. He came straight up. Look at this hair. Look at this guy.
Your hair is crazy.
He came straight up from Oregon and sat by bedside to me in recovery when it all happened and post when it happened. And he had stayed there for a couple weeks when I was in recovery and made sure I was getting better, made sure I was recuperating and not going crazy. And when he was here, it's like, you know what? We're just going to keep going. And so we shot a couple videos, like maybe one a day of like a let's play or
Yeah, we
reaction.
didn't want to go too much, you know, because I felt like I didn't want to
just screaming, the act of screaming. I couldn't lift a phone book. I was not allowed because of a possible hernia. I wasn't allowed to do anything. So I sit in a chair and scream for a while, feel the pain coming back, and then stop filming, go back to bed, and he would be in the other room for another day, come back, I would go back out, we'd film some more, eventually we'd get to 2 videos, 3 videos a day and be able to release them faster. And we kept going like that for a while because I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do a physical anything, and I knew these bills were coming. I didn't have insurance. I didn't have medical insurance. I had nothing to be able to handle what was about to happen. I luckily, my boss at my current job was kind enough to continue to pay me for 40 hours a week while I was not there, while I was disabled.
Yeah, because you really needed it. And that's part of why we made more videos at the time. I was thinking, if we make more
just
videos,
had to crank
we'll
it
make more
because-
money, you'll have some money to pay for your cancer treatment. And the
adpocalypse. Then the adpocalypse. And everything made less than half.
What we made before,
We got-
1 video a week. Doing 3 videos a week.
And now we go for 1 to 3 to just trying to get through and cranking them out and making sure that I didn't go insane not doing something. Yeah. And that we had content for you, that we could grow the channel, that we could maybe, I don't know what's going to happen.
Both my lights have went out now.
I saw that one. So at the time, I didn't know what was going to happen to me. I didn't know if it was going to have had spread. was still under observation. I didn't know how much chemo, if I had to have radiation, or if I was ever going to be able to go back.
It made me feel so guilty hearing too that you were just dealing with the pain doing back bumps during Mad Santa. That I had no idea at the time that you were putting yourself through that much pain, you know, during that. And I look back at that and I feel really like I really wish I could have helped you more, you know? And that's part of what the filming was aimed to do, but I felt like I couldn't. I felt like the Adpocalypse made it to where no matter how much harder we tried, it didn't actually make a fucking difference, you know?
It didn't do anything. It felt like you couldn't get traction. What we were doing, we were just trying to do more, and that's not necessarily what people want. So if we wanted to do more, and we wanted to react to something, or we wanted to play a game or something like that, and it wasn't suited for Scorpion or Subdued, playing it like a Mario game, no one would watch. No one would watch what we were doing if it didn't have anything to do with Mortal Kombat. And at that time, it had just burned past every tower. Every single tower we had done for Mortal Kombat 9 with all the new characters.
And 10.
And so we'd already done those things. And all those things get orange. All those things get flagged when the Apocalypse happens.
It was at least 50% of the videos. It was at least half of our videos. Probably 2/3 of our videos.
Just trying to make something. Just trying to make something happen. It's just a game. It's okay. We stop swearing. That's a lot of times. Like, it's a big thing for a lot of YouTubers that have a regular voice that they're used to using when they're speaking. So you have expletives. You have things that make a dramatic statement, things go up and down. That's how speech works. And they're like, no, we censor those words and you can't be that anymore. So you go in on the family-friendly side and it's like, fine, we'll do that. We'll blurp everything out. No bleeps. You're not allowed to bleep either. If you hear a bleep, we're going to flag the bleep. Okay, then we're going to replace that with the toasty. Because that was suggested by you guys. Thank you for that. Toasty or a punch sound or like a Yoshi or going down a pipe. It's Mario. It's just some kind of way to kind of make it more PC. But the fact that we're having Mortal Kombat in every video title that we're doing, it put us on this red list.
Yeah, and I tried to contact people about it too. We had a YouTube partner guy that we talked to where I was like pointing out like, why is this video, you know, age gated or whatever, but this video isn't. This video isn't violent, but this video is. And this video is good. And the guy never even responds to me. That's how they treated it at the time. Even if you had hundreds of thousands of subscribers, those partner helper people didn't really help with shit. And I remember contacting Machinima, you know, trying to like get a contract worked out. Maybe, you know, we could get something out of that, like so we could get a little bit of money so we could pay for that. Just the assurance that you can get through.
Yeah, that was in the time that Machinima was kicking over to being television worthy, to being actually standalone, very high quality stuff. They were trying to kick away all of the people, the content creators that were just posting garbage all the way. So they were doing what they wanted, what they needed to do to go in the direction they wanted to go, and that it unfortunately involved kicking us to the curb, so to speak, with not letting us release any more content to them. And so that's where we went south. We went a different direction.
So we tried to work out a bunch of different contracts at the time just to try and get, you know, some sort of connection to more money so that we could pay for your treatments, because at the end of the day, if you're already going through cancer, the last thing you want to be worried about is can you afford to even get through it, you know? And that's something that I didn't want you to have to think about on top of everything else. And so I was trying desperately to figure out, how can we fix this problem? How do we change the fact that it's the Adpocalypse? Oh, we do Mario Let's Plays. Nope. They just don't get viewed.
They don't watch them. No, nobody watches those.
And so then it just becomes, well, like you were thinking,
they're fun.
Do we remove the term Mortal Kombat? You know, do we start to just treat it like it's the vulgar thing that keeps getting triggered? And it just felt like no matter what we did or tried, there was no way to help.
The niche that got us in the door in the first place, that allowed us to have the audience like you guys that we have, was taking away everything at the same time. And so we were like, what do we do? How do we do? We just waited. We just kept going, tried to do certain things to kind of subvert it, but we just basically just kept waiting for YouTube to fix itself, and hoping that they were gonna kind of get wise up. The advertisers were going to be more lenient, understanding that YouTube as a platform to advertise for is not something you want to pull away from. This is the main media source for anybody under the age of 30. It's where people go. So you want to be, as an ad maker, as a publicity person, you want to be putting everything on YouTube, and so you got to be a little bit more lenient on what you do and taking those away. So,
Yeah, it's like we've had to constantly evolve based on not only like what's too violent or unacceptable to the platform, but also what you guys want. I mean, we're constantly like, we learned you like try not to laugh challenges. We learned you like unboxings of different masks and stuff, and I'm glad that we've been continuing to experiment, but it at the time it just I can't imagine, you know, like how you felt with all of that weighing on you, you know, because there was a point in time I remember where we weren't sure whether or not it had spread, like you were saying, and
yeah,
you were concerned about that.
We were still. By the way, when this is being shot, I am toward the 4th. I'm at about the 4-year mark almost of not having it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 more years. I have a year and a half, actually, a year and a half of observations to be cleared of having it. So I'm on the tail end. Every time that I go in and they say no, that the chances of it actually being there or recurring are less and less and less. And so I'm on the good track to not having it anymore. And it's like maybe it's down to maybe a 13%.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very, very low. So things are looking up. I'm very optimistic every time now. But every time I do go in, it's expensive. Every time I just go get the...
And you don't like to go in because you don't like to think about the reality that, you know...
No, everybody's in, you know, especially when I was... At that time, I'm still young. I'm still invincible. You know, I'm a stunt man, scorpion guy that is able to do all these things and work my ass off, make, you know, at work, be a boss, and then, no, you got this disease, and now, and now that you're like this. Yeah, it's a scary thing, and you guys, that's something you guys got to be aware of. And I hear a lot of you out there that have problems in the comments, that have lost family, that have people in your lives that have cancer too, and you see us and you say, you make me feel better. You make my day better. You made my day to see this video. And for you, I can't stop. I can't stop. I need you guys to be okay. I need you to have a reason to have those bright moments. Because there's so many moments in your life where you're just, how can it get better? How? You have goals, you have things you want to achieve, and there's sort of all these hurdles in the way, and you just got to keep going. You have to. I mean, these things are going to happen. No one lives forever. And we have to, as time goes on, as life goes on, you realize how things may fall apart and how you know, it could all come to an end. But we're just trying to get the most out of life You're trying to get the most out of everything. You're trying to help everyone you can. You're trying to empower your loved ones. You know, with my daughter and my wife, everybody around me, supporting me, all of you guys.
It is, as you said, there's a lot of people, you know, out there watching in the audience that, you know, have these types of things happen in their lives, like losing, you know, a loved one to cancer or heart disease or, you know, anything major like that. And that's why we make these videos, like you were saying. I want to make people laugh, but the people I want to make laugh most are the people I know who need to laugh the most, you know? And I think about all of those different experiences people have had that have been difficult to get through, and how many people need that, you know, distraction, that...
Need moments.
Yeah.
To have those moments of breathing, being able to go, moments of distraction from whatever it is you're hiding from, being able to just get space.
So that's where we
relieve anxiety, yes. Just therapy. If you can find joy in something that does not harm you, as an entertainer, as entertainers, that's what I feel like we're doing. We're kind of just being there in between the moments.
And I've always used it as a distraction, and it's like a way for me to get out of like my shy shell, you know. And back when we started, I remember the difference, and you can see it in the videos too. You look at videos where you see my face, and you look at videos where I'm wearing the mask, and I'm a lot funnier with the mask on, and I'm a lot more, you know, I go a lot more places with it. And that's what is an important thing that I hope that you guys at home, if you're somebody who's a shy kid, or maybe you're not a kid and you're still shy, and you kind of feel like you need a distraction, cosplay is really great to get into, because I put this mask on, I feel a lot more confident, I do a lot more than I would do like this, because as some of you know, I have yellow teeth. I was born with ameliogenesis imperfecta, and that meant that the white enamel of my teeth was not there when I was a kid. You know, I just had yellow teeth. They whitened the top ones, but at the time my bottom teeth weren't in good enough condition, so they always stayed yellow. So I've always had this kind of like not wanting to laugh around people thing, because every time when I was a little kid that I'd start telling a story, or I'd start getting excited, people would look at me and say, "Why are your teeth yellow?" And it wouldn't matter how many times I explained to those kids why my teeth were yellow. And when you're a kid, you try and explain to somebody, I have ameliogenesis imperfecta. I don't even know how I could say it at that point. I don't even know how I could say such long words. But I memorized it because I really wanted people to know that it wasn't me just not brushing my teeth as a kid. And that's what everybody thought. So it was like, it didn't occur to me that it had to do with this. That all I had to do was just do that. And all of a sudden you block this out, I have all the ability in the world. Like, go from this boring to, oh my God, everything, yeah, it's all happening. You know, it's just, it's just really something that you guys at home, if you're feeling like you're kind of like...
It's an interesting concept. That's what, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
It's the same vein, though. It is getting people to understand what the mask does isn't to hide. It is the opposite. It is to shine
let
through.
You out.
To let the you out. And everybody can do that. Everybody has the ability to do it. Some people need a little bit more of a, to remove their mental restrictions. Mask will help people with the big noses or buck teeth or discolored ones that don't feel comfortable with ever smiling or watching people see them talk. So putting a mask there takes those fears away, and you're able to more freely express yourself, what you want to say, how you want to emote, how you want to behave. It is the opposite of the culture mask. It is the opposite of the culture masks that culture, people around you put you kind of in this box of behavior and how you must say things, how you must sound, how you must be a person. And you go out and you button up and you're straight and you're not expressive, you're very one-dimensional of how society puts you to be, and so you kind of act like that, and you become an adult, and you know that's how you behave because that's how you're supposed to, or everybody else does. This is an excuse. This is an excuse for some grown men to continue,
and women,
and grown men and women to continue to be expressive and be creative and be everything that their emotions can drive them to be, and without fear of being in this world around people that'll tell you you're wrong.
It's like therapy to a degree too. It's a form of therapy, I think, for some people. Just being able to be like kind of outgoing but anonymous. Oh my God! I'm giving up on this.
I can see you. I can still see you.
You can still see me in the darkness. But yeah, I want everybody to understand, like you're saying, it's if you put these costumes on, you will find that well, maybe not these depends on what you like. I'm assuming you like Mortal Kombat because you're watching a Mortal Kombat video from a Mortal Kombat channel. But you put your favorite character's mask or costume on and you try and be like them. Who gives a crap whether or not you sound exactly like them, you look exactly like them? Just be that character, what you think that should be, and just let it out. Because you'll find oftentimes that you surprise yourself.
Anyway, we don't want this to be a downer all of a sudden. I didn't know I was going to do that, but I just felt like this is the time now. It's been long enough. You guys can know what's been going on with me, what's been going on with you, and what our thought process is. We're 10 years in on this Mortal Kombat direction, our characters in developing and our channel and how it's been going, and we wanted to more personally address those things, what they meant, what our thought process were, how we evolved, and what has happened in between to make these drastic changes that you've seen over the years. And we
would like to encourage, sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
We'd like to encourage you guys to leave comments below if you have any questions. Like we leave something out that you wanted to know about how it came to be a certain video, a certain idea, anything about any of the stuff we talked about, or the last 10 years of making Mortal Kombat videos, leave a question down below. And we will probably either answer it on video, on another one of these like responding to questions things, or we'll respond back in comment form. And yeah, I'm sure there's things we left out, is the point. There's things that people want to know about.
Yeah, we could just talk for hours and hours about this whole thing. And so we have been talking for probably, if I cut this down to about an hour, about everything. We've been rambling along enough. If you want very specific things to be answered, then we'll address those in responding to comments. Like he said, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for making it to the end.
Yes, thank you for 10 years. I mean, like, really, did we think we'd be doing this for 10 years? I don't think I thought that at first.
No, think
it's only thanks to you guys. It's only thanks to you helping us get here through all of your comments, your likes, your subscriptions, your feedback that's changed our characters over time. You've patted us both on the back millions of times.
It'll bounce a mood. If we feel down, you perk us up with your comments. If you feel down, we get you a video, and hopefully that works to help you be happier.
We love you guys, and I love you, bro. You know, here, give me a hug.
Okay.
This is a hug for everybody, and a hug for you too.
Universal combatant embrace. Here it is. My chair spun. Can't sit back down in it. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.